ran down Emily's spine as she parked her old sedan in the hospital's lot. The wind howled outside, rattling the car windows as if the universe itself knew her life was about to change. With trembling hands, she stepped out, closed the door behind her, and walked briskly toward the entrance, her mind a whirlwind of questions and fears. What could be so urgent? Her triplets Max, Ben, and Sam were thriving, weren't they? The doctor, Dr. Whitaker, a kind-faced man in his early 60s with a penchant for calm smiles, met her in his office. This time, however, his expression was anything but reassuring. He gestured for her to sit, and after what felt like an eternity, he spoke. "Emily, what I'm about to tell you is unprecedented," he began, each word measured, like someone afraid to shatter fragile glass. "It concerns your boys." He leaned forward, clasping his hands together as if steadying himself. "After their birth, we kept blood samples as part of a study on genetic markers for childhood diseases. During a routine review, our team noticed irregularities. Emily echoed, her voice a whisper. She clutched the arms of the chair, feeling like the floor was opening beneath her. Dr. Whitaker nodded gravely. "Your son's DNA is extraordinary. Emily, they each possess a unique sequence unlike anything we've seen in human genetics. Max, Ben, and Sam appear to have latent abilities markers we typically associate with myths and fiction. The potential is limitless, and it could redefine human understanding." Emily stared at him, unblinking. Abilities redefine human understanding? It was madness, wasn't it? But she'd always felt something special about her boys, a spark in their eyes, a way they sometimes seemed to understand her, without words, a way they moved in perfect sync. But this was beyond anything she could fathom. Seeing her pale face, Dr. Whitaker softened his tone. "For now, these abilities are dormant, but there may be signs as they grow. We must proceed with caution. Emily, there are others who would be very interested in your children, powerful people who may not have their best interests at heart." Emily's maternal instincts flared, a surge of protective fire roaring within her. "What do you mean? Are they in danger?" Dr. Whitaker nodded reluctantly. "Potentially. News of their genetic profile hasn't spread yet, but if it does, you'll need to protect them. We'll do everything we can on our end, but I thought you should know before anyone else. This is both a gift and a burden, Emily." The weight of it all pressed down on her. Her triplets weren't just her babies anymore, they were at the center of a mystery that could reshape humanity. 1,000 thoughts raced through her mind. Would they grow up normal? Would they be exploited? Could she keep them safe? The weeks that followed were a blur. Emily watched Max, Ben, and Sam more closely than ever, looking for signs, hoping for normalcy yet fearing what might come. One evening, as the sunset bathed their small living room in hues of amber and crimson, she witnessed something that made her heart stop. Max, who had been reaching for a toy just out of his grasp, suddenly lifted it into the air with a flick of his tiny hand, eyes wide with surprise. Ben, startled, let out a laugh so pure, so filled with joy that Emily swore she felt warmth radiate from him. Sam, ever the thoughtful observer, simply stared as if trying to comprehend the deeper meaning of it all. Reality crashed down. Dr. Whitaker was right. Her sons were different. Over the next few months, Emily worked tirelessly to give her boys a semblance of a normal life while also learning to navigate the new world they had stumbled into. She sought out hidden experts, whispered to Dr. Whitaker for guidance, and kept a vigilant eye on the news for any whispers of the children whose very DNA held secrets mankind wasn't ready for. But secrets have a way of slipping through the cracks. And one fateful night, shadows gathered outside her modest home. Unknown faces watched, whispering of power, potential, and destiny. Emily knew then that she would fight with every ounce of strength she had. Max, Ben, and Sam were her sons, and she would move heaven and earth to keep them safe even if the world wasn't ready for what they might become. This was only the beginning. The night the shadows came was like no other. Emily had just put the boys to bed. Moonlight streamed through their curtains, bathing their cribs in silver light. The air was heavy, pressing down on her shoulders like an unseen weight. She felt it in her bones, a chill that told her danger was near. Outside, whispers of wind carried something more sinister. Footsteps, the crunch of gravel under heavy boots. Shadows moved at the edge of her yard, fleeting shapes that watched, waited. Emily's heart pounded in her chest. She had prepared for this moment since Dr. Whitaker's warning. She had hoped it would never come, but deep down, she always knew it would. Her mother was asleep in the guest room down the hall, blissfully unaware. The boys were only 1 year old, too young to understand what was happening, but Emily needed to act. Swiftly and silently, she moved through the house, making sure the doors were locked, drawing the curtains tight. Her fingers trembled as she dialed Dr. Whitaker's number on her phone. No answer. She swallowed hard, forcing herself to stay calm. A loud thud against the back door made her jump. Someone or something was trying to break in. She grabbed the nearest object, her cast iron skillet, and crept toward the noise. The seconds felt like hours as she pressed her ear to the door. A faint scratching noise, then a soft click. Her breath caught. The door burst open with sudden force, knocking her backward. She scrambled to her feet, adrenaline surging. Two men stepped inside, their faces hidden by masks, their movements precise and menacing. Emily's eyes blazed with defiance. "Where are they?" One of the men demanded, his voice cold, calculated. "We know they're here." Emily gripped the skillet tighter. "Get out of my house." The intruders didn't respond. Instead, they advanced, but before they could get closer, something incredible happened. The air around them shimmered, like heat rising off asphalt. Max, Ben, and Sam had awakened. Emily's gaze darted to the hallway where they stood, three small boys, their eyes wide and glowing with unearthly light. The intruders faltered, clearly taken aback. Max raised his tiny hand again, and the air crackled with energy. The closest intruder was lifted off his feet and thrown against the wall with bone-crushing force. Ben giggled. His innocent laugh sent a wave of warmth and light through the room, blinding the second man momentarily. Sam, ever the silent observer, focused his gaze, and suddenly, the intruder's weapon grew red-hot, forcing him to drop it with a scream. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Emily found refuge with an underground network that specialized in protecting people with extraordinary abilities, families who had been targeted by powerful organizations that wanted control, or worse, wanted to dissect and study them like specimens. She learned that there were many like her children, though none quite the same. Her triplets were special, even among the special. The network's leader, a man named Elias, took Emily and the boys under his wing. He had once been a renowned geneticist before he discovered the dark secrets of those who sought to control these gifted children. He told Emily that her boys were part of a prophecy, 3 children born of one mother, whose abilities would either save the world or doom it. Under Elias's guidance, Emily and her children trained in secret. Max learned to harness his telekinesis, though it often got the better of him. Ben's laughter became a source of healing and light, but also a powerful shield. Sam's silent, focused demeanor belied his growing talent for manipulating the elements around him. Emily marveled at their progress, but she also feared for their safety. Every day, she woke with the knowledge that someone was hunting them. Then came the day when the network itself was compromised. Betrayed by someone from within, they were attacked. The safe haven they had built burned around them. Emily led her boys through secret tunnels, her heart pounding with terror and determination. Elias stayed behind to buy them time, his last words echoing in her mind, "Trust no one. Protect them at all costs. The world isn't ready." The journey that followed tested Emily like never before. She became a warrior, a teacher, and a shield for her sons. Max, Ben, and Sam grew stronger, their bond unbreakable. Together, they encountered others with abilities, some allies, others enemies. They uncovered the truth about the organization that sought to capture them, a powerful syndicate bent on using their gifts to dominate the world. Emily knew the fight was far from over, but as she looked at her boys, she saw hope. They were just children, but they were also something more. They were her heart, her strength, and perhaps the world's last chance for salvation. She would do anything, face any threat, make any sacrifice to keep them safe. And so they pressed on, a mother and her extraordinary children. In the shadows, their enemies whispered of power and destiny. But Emily knew that love-fierce, unyielding love was the greatest power of all. And for that, she would never stop fighting, not now, not ever. This was only the beginning of their legend. The road stretched out before them, a narrow path flanked by towering trees that whispered in the wind. Emily's battered car bumped and rattled along, the headlights piercing the darkness. She knew they couldn't run forever, but for now, every mile between them and their pursuers felt like a small victory. In the back seat, Max, Ben, and Sam huddled close, their eyes wide and uncertain. They could sense their mother's tension. Emily glanced at them through the rearview mirror, her heart aching. How much longer could she keep them safe? How could she prepare 3 one-year-old boys to face a world that saw them as either weapons or threats? They reached a secluded cabin deep in the mountains just before dawn. The cabin belonged to an old contact of Elias's, a woman named Muriel, who had once been a formidable operative before going into hiding. Muriel was lean and strong, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She had silver-streaked hair and a quiet, commanding presence. When Emily knocked, the door creaked open, revealing Muriel's watchful gaze. Without a word, Muriel stepped aside, allowing them in. Inside, the cabin was sparse but well-protected, reinforced walls, hidden escape routes, and a command center of old, analog technology. No digital signals that could be traced. "You're lucky you made it," Muriel said, her voice low and gravelly. "I've heard whispers. Whoever's after you has deep pockets and deeper connections." Emily nodded, exhausted but determined. They won't stop. No, they won't. Muriel studied Max, Ben, and Sam with a mix of curiosity and wariness. "So these are Elias's prophecy children." "They're just kids," Emily said defensively, but even she couldn't ignore the way Max's eyes glowed faintly, the energy that crackled in the air around him. "Just kids who could change the world," Muriel replied. "But they need training, guidance, protection, and you, Emily, you need allies." The days that followed were grueling. Muriel put Emily and the boys through intense training, physical, mental, and emotional. Emily learned hand-to-hand combat, escape tactics, and survival skills she'd never imagined needing. The boys, despite their age, showed remarkable adaptability. Max honed his telekinesis with precision, lifting objects with greater control. Ben's laughter, once innocent, became a shield that deflected Muriel's strongest attacks. And Sam's connection to the elements grew stronger. He could create gusts of wind or summon water with a flick of his tiny hand. But with every step forward, the threats grew. News of the triplets' existence had begun to spread through underground channels. Mercenaries, scientists, and shadowy organizations, all with their own agendas, were converging on them. Muriel's cabin, no matter how fortified, wouldn't be safe forever. One night, Emily awoke to the sound of muffled voices outside. She sprang from her bed, grabbing the knife she kept under her pillow. The boys were asleep, nestled together like puzzle pieces. She rushed to Muriel, who was already checking the perimeter through a slit in the window. "They found us," Muriel whispered. "We have minutes, maybe less." Emily's heart raced. "What do we do?" "Follow me." They moved quickly, gathering the boys and a few essential supplies. Muriel led them to a hidden hatch beneath the floorboards. It opened into a tunnel that stretched deep into the forest. As they descended, Emily heard the first explosion, fire and debris rained down, shaking the ground. Her boys whimpered, but she shushed them gently, masking her own fear. They had to stay quiet. They had to survive. The tunnel emerged in a dense thicket a mile away. Muriel closed the exit behind them, her face grim. "We can't keep running like this. You need to take the fight to them." Emily stared at her, incredulous. "How? We don't even know who they are." "But we can find out," Muriel said. "Elias left clues, names, places. There's a trail if you're willing to follow it. It's dangerous, but if you stay on the run, they'll never stop hunting you. Emily thought of her boys of the life she wanted for them. A life free of fear. She nodded, "I'm willing." And so began their quest to uncover the truth. Emily and her children traveled from one hidden contact to the next, piecing together fragments of a larger conspiracy. Along the way, they encountered others with abilities, some who became friends, others who were enemies. Each battle honed their skills, each alliance taught them trust and its cost. There were moments of light, to laughter around a campfire, Ben's contagious giggle that always seemed to lift their spirits. Max's fierce protectiveness over his brothers, Sam's quiet wisdom beyond his years. Through every challenge, Emily marveled at their resilience. They weren't just surviving, they were growing stronger. But their enemies grew bolder. One day, they captured a high-ranking operative, a man named Victor, who revealed the existence of a facility dedicated to studying children like hers. It was heavily guarded, its secrets locked away. If Emily wanted to end the hunt, she would have to destroy it. The decision weighed heavily on her. It would be their most dangerous mission yet. But as she looked at her son Max's determined gaze, Ben's unwavering smile, Sam's calm assurance, she knew they were ready. They would face whatever lay ahead, together. In the dead of night, they prepared for the final confrontation, unsure of what awaited, but certain of one thing: they would fight. For freedom, for each other, for a world that didn't understand their power, but desperately needed it. The battle was coming, and the world would never be the same.